A very good evening to you. You're watching Prime Time News. As we go into the news today, I saw some interesting views being expressed by former parliamentarian K. Lal earlier in the Newsline program with Charlene Benedict. You can catch the show on YouTube. All you have to do is search for hashtag Newsline SL and you can rewatch our past Newsline shows as well. With that, let's quickly cross over to headlines.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Showers exceeding 100 millimeters in several provinces. 6 people reported dead due to extreme weather. Flood and landslide warnings issued by the Disaster Management Centre. CID informs Supreme Court that Reverend Father Cyril Gamini will not be arrested. Will Sri Lanka accept the Chinese fertilizer? Discussion between the Chinese embassy, Chinese fertilizer company and local authorities. Teachers to take to the streets tomorrow as well. 16 health trade unions to engage in a token strike.
News First Headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
If you are someone living in Colombo, you may have experienced the heavy deluge today. With that being the case in Colombo and especially in the western province, what is the weather looking like for the other parts of the island? Heavy showers are experienced over most parts of the island at present. The Department of Meteorology predicts heavy showers exceeding 100 millimeters in several areas. The Department of Irrigation says the water levels of the Kukule Ganga and Kuda Ganga have risen due to the heavy rainfall received in the past 24 hours over the Kalu River Basin. Accordingly, the Irrigation Department has issued minor flood warnings for the low-lying areas of Kudaganga and Kalu River basins in the Bulat Sinhala, Baduraliya, Palindanuwara, Millaniya, Horana and Dodangoda divisional secretariats. The Irrigation Department also noted that the water level of the Attanagalu Oya has also risen. As a result of this, there is a risk of minor floods in the low-lying areas of the Attanagalu Oya, especially in the Gampaha, Attanagalla and Jayala divisional secretariats in the next few hours. We are now joined by Charlene Benedict with more on the weather.
With heavy showers being reported in many parts across the island, flash floods have also been hitting several areas in Sri Lanka. Now, according to the Met Department, the showery conditions in the northern, northwestern, western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Norelia districts are expected to enhance in the next 24 hours. According to the Sri Lanka Navy, speaking about the readiness of the country to face these flash floods and to save lives in the process, the Sri Lanka Navy said that 3 rapid response and rescue relief teams of the Sri Lanka Navy have been dispatched to the Ratnapura district. The Navy added that another team has been left on standby in the Udalamatta area in the Galle district. Further, 24 teams of the Sri Lanka Navy rapid response, rescue and relief teams have been left on standby in Valisara and Colombo in case of flash floods and other inclement situations, of course, due to the adverse weather that has been affecting Sri Lanka. Another 6 teams of the Galle Naval Command are also on standby for any emergency. Now, the Met Department has advised the general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning and temporarily localized strong winds during thunder showers. Also, the naval community in the coastal region of Sri Lanka have also been advised not to go out to sea due to the extreme weather conditions that are prevalent over the island. This is the Ada Dola Ella in Padiyapilla, Valapane. The landslide warnings issued to the divisional secretariats in several areas were extended owing to the heavy downpours. The Kurana town was inundated today.
Vehicular movement along the Noor Elia Hatton Main Road was completely disrupted due to a landslide in Blackpool along the Noor Elia Hatton Main Road this evening. The landslide warnings that were issued are in effect for the following areas. A level 1 landslide warning is in effect in the Alla and Passara divisional secretariats in the Badula district, the Sitavaka divisional secretariat in the Colombo district, the Nagoda, Nelua and Yakkalamula divisional secretariats in the Gaul district, the Horana and Ingiriya divisional secretariats in the Kaluthara district, the Dolua, Udunuwara, Gangawata Korale, Pasbagi Korale, Yatinuwara and Hadispattua divisional secretariats in the Kandy district, and the Mavanella, Bulatkohopitia and Aranaka divisional secretariats in the Kegaul district. A level 2 landslide warning is in effect for the Alpitia and Baddegama divisional secretariats in the Gaul district, the Agalavatta, Palindanuwara and Bulatsinhala divisional secretariats in the Kaluthara district, the Ruanvalla and Dehiovita divisional secretariats in the Kegaul district, the Ukuvela and Raptora divisional secretariats in the Mathale district, and the Ayagama, Ratnapura, Aheliagoda and Kalavana divisional secretariats in the Ratnapura district. Several low-lying areas in Mathura were inundated as a result of heavy showers. The Valipitia Jamburegoda road was inundated and caused disruptions to vehicular movement. Our correspondent said the water levels of the Nilvala and Polvatumodura rivers have risen. Several low-lying areas in Karandagoda, Dimiava and Rambuluwana in Alapatha Ratnapura were inundated after the Hangamur river spilled over. The Alawa Giriulla main road was inundated and vehicular movement along the road was completely hampered. Area residents pointed out that irregular construction of expressways has caused more frequent flooding in the area.
Thank you, Shalan, for that update. Now, News First has deployed all of our correspondents to these high-risk areas to get the latest information with regard to the weather, so as to keep our general public informed about it. A short while ago, we received footage from the Putlam area, where the area has been flooded due to incessant rains. Keeping you updated about more local news, the Senior Additional Solicitor General Rohantha Abesurya, I beg your pardon, informed the Supreme Court today that the Director of the CID has informed the Attorney General that Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando will not be arrested. Senior Additional Solicitor General informed this to the Supreme Court when the fundamental rights petition filed by Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando was taken up in court today.
A silent protest was organized opposite the Supreme Court complex in Alutkade when the petition was taken up this morning. Priests and nuns of the Catholic Church and the Mahasangha took part in the protest. Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando filed a fundamental rights application with the Supreme Court on the 2nd of this month, seeking an order to prevent any attempt being made by the Criminal Investigations Department to arrest him after summoning him to the CID to record a statement. The petition was taken before the 3-judge bench comprising Justices Vijit Malalgoda, LTP Dehidenia and Preeti Padman Surasena. Attorney at law Rienzi Arasakularatna, who represents Father Cyril Gamini, informed court that his client will agree to appear before the Criminal Investigations Department when it is necessary. The petition will be taken up again on the 4th of April next year. The Director of the Criminal Investigations Department, Director of State Intelligence Service Major General Suresh Saleh and the Attorney General were named as respondents among others. The Director General of the State Intelligence Service Major General Suresh Saleh filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department on the 25th of October 2021 against multiple malicious statements made in reference to him with regard to the April 21st attacks by Reverend Father Cyril Gamini Fernando. The Criminal Investigations Department had informed Father Cyril Gamni on 2 occasions to appear before the CID to record statements based on 2 articles under the Penal Code and the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Initially, Reverend Father Cyril Gamni requested more time to appear before the CID and thereafter informed the CID through his attorney that he would be unable to appear before the CID since a fundamental rights application has been filed. It is a shame to say that the head of state intelligence is afraid of a statement made by a priest. Head of intelligence Major General Suresh Saleh is saying that the statement made by Reverend Father Cyril Gamni is causing a security threat to him and his family. But Father Cyril Gamni and the Catholic Church have been vociferous about national security of the country for years now. Please reveal the truth. That is the responsibility of the leaders of this country. It is extremely unfair when you take steps to arrest us instead of revealing the truth. The wound stings even more when you rub salt on it. You claim that you are afraid for your life. What about our lives? If you are this afraid, who is responsible for ensuring our safety?
The Samagijana Balavegaya staged a protest along with area residents today opposite the Khandana police, demanding the withdrawal of a gazette notification issued by the Urban Development Authority to take over land of Muthurajavela. A group of parliamentarians were also present at this occasion. Our correspondent said the demonstration was suspended for a week.
The topic regarding Muthurajavela and the controversial UDA Gazette was discussed in Parliament today. What will happen if Muthurajavela is handed over to the UDA? They can take over the land, lease it or even hand it over to a third party to carry out development. There is a broad public discourse regarding this. Even my house in Jayala can be taken over by the UDA as per this particular gazette that was issued. We received information that a private company is buying land in various locations in Muthurajavela. This has been clearly mentioned in the COPA report that came to Parliament today, that a company by the name of Melwatta Property Developing has purchased about 65,000 purchase of the Muthurajavela land. They have done this claiming they are going to build a tourist scheme and even a golf course. The Ministry of Wildlife as well as the Ministry of Environment both said that they have no authority to acquire these lands again. They do not have the authority, nor do they have the funds to do it. The ministers in charge of wildlife, urban development as well as the environment held discussions and made a proposal to the Cabinet of Ministers that Muthurajavela be brought under the UDA as a first step and then for it to be converted into a national reserve. This has 3 steps and this is the first step. I have to be clear on one thing. The President advised me to say this yesterday as well. We do not have any plan to move the settlements or the people from that area to anywhere else.
මේ දැනට ජීවත් වෙන ජනාවාස කිසිවක ඉන්න ජනතාව එතන ඉවත් කරන්න අපේ බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නැහැ. ඊයේ සියලු දේවල්.
This matter was discussed in all Catholic churches yesterday. If the requirement is to protect the environment, I suggest that we do not invite trouble to the government and gazette the area that is falling under the reserve. We must revoke this particular gazette because the people are uneasy as to whether they would lose the land and the property that they have benefited for over 150 to 200 years. If you take me as an example, all my family property will be included in this. The task that needs to be done is not to measure this again using surveyors. We must rescind the gazette and initiate a program to protect the portion that has already been conserved.
ඒවා පිළිබඳ ගැටලුවක් තිබෙනවා නම් ඒක අපිට සාකච්ඡා කරන්නට ඒ සීමා වෙනස් කරන්න පුළුවන්.
What will happen to the Chinese fertilizer agreement? Upon a request by the Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, several parties involved in the Chinese fertilizer agreement were called to the Ministry of Agriculture today.
The Deputy General Manager and the Chief Technical Officer of the Qingdao Sewin Biotech Group, Anna Song, also took part in the discussion. Although she was willing to express her views to the media, the Chinese embassy did not grant her the opportunity.
Miss Song? Yeah, we have some questions for you, ma'am, about the fertilizer stock.
Sorry, my English is very...
so you can just answer this
maybe
question,
my colleague can...
Yes, okay. Ma'am, on what grounds are you all filing these allegations against a state entity, the Plant Quarantine Service of Sri Lanka is a state entity? On what grounds are you all filing these allegations against us?
Sorry.
Chairman of the state fertilizer companies and officials at the Agriculture Ministry were also present during the discussion. However, this was the manner in which representatives of the Chinese embassy and the Chinese fertilizer company refused to comment to the media.
Talk to the media and on what grounds you all have filed these disruptive. Song, can you please answer that?
Yeah, please talk to the ministry.
When the Chinese ambassador wanted to visit my ministry, I allowed him to come and we held talks. We explained our stance regarding the fertilizer issue. There is a case filed in court, therefore I cannot comment further.
Where is the vessel carrying Chinese fertilizer? Marine traffic websites confirmed today that the Hippo Spirit vessel is now 12.63 nautical miles off the coast of Kalutara. The vessel appeared on the outer rim of the Colombo port, and following our inquiries, the vessel had obtained water as per its requirements from the Colombo port and left the port. The vessel had informed the Colombo port that it will set sail to deep seas as well. This is how the ruling party responded to issues about the fertilizer crisis.
This does not in any way impact the sovereignty of the nation. It is an act of trade. It is normal for one party in an agreement to send a letter of demand to the other party when they are not pleased with the way things have taken place. This problem is about an economic transaction. It has nothing to do with the sovereignty of our nation. Please do not give an incorrect interpretation to this. The lawsuit was not filed by the Chinese government. It was filed by a Chinese company. They have the right to do that. If an independent judiciary hears out the case and gives an unbiased ruling, then international relations are not being shattered. Our international relations with China will be made stronger in that case.
Can a fertilizer company threaten a country? We are a sovereign nation. They must know that first. If they are threatening the media and the National Plant Quarantine Service of the country, and if the government is staying silent nevertheless, then we can understand that the government has been silenced using commissions. That company comes out with the stance that the stock of fertilizer should have been tested before it was imported. That is of course correct. That is what we said in the beginning as well. If the LCs were open before the stock was tested, then the importer has to have certainty that the stock can be unloaded here. We do not see this as a threat against the National Plant Quarantine Service and the media. We see this as a threat against our nation. This is degrading to our motherland. This Gotabaya Rajapaksa regime and its leaders are responsible for this humiliation. We challenge President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa to come out and deny this statement. This cannot be pinned on someone else. This threat should be rejected and condemned at all levels, devoid of party preferences and political biases. The foreign minister should summon the Chinese ambassador and ask them, we are being threatened by a company. What is going to happen to our nation's sovereignty? Why can't the government at least say, take this ship and send a different one? Our leaders do not have a backbone. These spineless leaders in turn threaten the farmers. Multiple farmers' protests were held even today, demanding adequate fertilizer for the Maha harvesting season. Representatives of 199 farmers' organizations banded together, waving black flags at the Dehiatpandi town to express their dismay. The government claims it can compensate. How can we expect a government which cannot even bring down milk powder children consume to compensate? The president says he can use the army and force people to work. He should do that with his Madamulana clan. We did not vote them into power for them to act in this way. These are lawless acts. The government cannot act as they please. The Rajapaksas think this is their inheritance. There are no dollars in the country, but we here the Rajapaksas have enough dollars to live for generations. We should grab them by the neck and get those dollars. They cannot throw you into the fields in that way. Farmers in Kalankutti in Anuradhapura engaged in a protest today, urging authorities to provide adequate fertilizer and pesticides. Every other businessman has fertilizer, but not an innocent farmer who maintains a 2-acre plot of land. SM Chandrasena's paddy fields have already received fertilizer. Bertie's son has enough and more fertilizer. Banana cultivations of the Dole company are sprayed with chemical fertilizer, but us farmers are being rendered helpless. Everything that needs to happen has happened. The village, the country, and we too have already been rendered helpless. Another protest was held in Batticaloa today, demanding a solution to the fertilizer crisis. Farmers who marched from Vaunathu and Kiran travelled to the Gandhi Park in Batticaloa. Later on, the group marched towards the district secretariat of Batticaloa and expressed their grievances to the district secretary through an epistle. While the fertilizer crisis continues, the gas crisis has not received a solution as of yet. This was the situation in multiple locations in the country today.
මේව කටු ගානේ අපේ ජීවිතේට දැන් අපිට අවුරුදු 50 ගානක් වෙනවා මගේ මේ පළවෙනි වතාවට තමයි ගෑස් පොලිම වලට ආවේ ඔය නිරුපමලා ගාව සල්ලි අරව මේව ටික ඔක්කොම මේව කළා මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ සාගතේ නැති කරන්න ගියා ඉතින්කට ගන්නේ එතකොට 2500 මගේ පඩිය මම අද ආවේ මෙතෙට 8ට අද වැඩ නැහැ එතකොට ගෑස් බෝතලේ 1070 උන්න උදේ 4000 විතර ගෑස් බෝතලේ දැන් මම යනකම් කණ්ඩත් නැහැ ගිය බදාදාවිලා 10ක් දුන්නා ලොරිය යනකොට යන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා 10 ඉවරයි. දැන් මට ගෑස් සිලින්ඩර් 31කට සෙනග කියලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මම කොහොමද දෙන්නේ? සුහිතන්නේ අපි තියාගෙන දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. දැන් ඉතින් කෙහෙකන්දාලා තියෙන්නේ මොකක් හරි ප්‍රයෝජනයක් ගන්නත් එපා ඒකේ. මේගොල්ලෝ පට්ට පේන්නේ මේ කොම්පැනි. මොනවද කරන්නේ? සෙල්ලමන්නේ මේ නටන්නේ. කර බලන්න ඔක්කොම ඇවිල්ලා ගෑස් ඉල්ලන්නේ. ගෑස් නැහැ.
මේම අපිට හරි අමාරුයි. අපි නගරේ ජීවත් වෙන්නේ. අපිට දරලිපක් නැහැ.
නෑ දරුවන්ට තේ වතුර ටිකක් කුණු කරගන්න නැහැ. කැම ටිකක් කුයා ගන්න නැහැ. රස්තිය ආදු. අතනින් මෙතනට යන්න කියනවා. මෙතනින් අතනට යන්න කියනවා.
Laughs Gas says it is struggling to raise $9 million a month to open letters of credit. The CEO of Laughs Gas, Chaminde Vikrama, said that steps have been taken to supply gas 50% less than the normal market supply. When Newsfirst spoke to Litro Gas, they said that they release 85,000 12.5 kilogram gas cylinders daily to the market. The company said the gas shortage would be resolved by next Friday. Following are the views expressed by the Samagijana Balawegya at a media briefing held today on the current situation in the country. All of this cannot be blamed on COVID-19. Bandula Gunawardena tries to say this all the time. If that is the case, all the other countries in the world should have gas queues, sugar queues, oil queues, milk powder queues and cement queues. This is because the government's economic mismanagement and the need of these people to help their allies.
හොරකම් කිරීමේ උවමනාවයි නිසා තමයි මේ තත්ත්වය පත්වලා තියෙන්නේ.
මේ රටේ ඉන්න ජනාධිපතිවරයා දබර ඇඟිල්ල අරගෙන මිනිසුන්ට තර කරලා ගොවියාගේ බෙල්ලෙන් අල්ලලා මට කරන්න පුළුවන් කිව්වා. අල්ලපිය බෙල්ල නෙමෙයි අපේ නැට්ට. ඒ නිසා අපි කියනවා 16 වෙනිදා ගොවියෝ වෙනවා. මේ ලංකාවේ ඉන්න ලක්ෂ 20ක් බෙල්ලෙන් අල්ලගෙන අරන් ඵලයන් පුළුවන්.
We are disappointed about the president. When there are 13,000 deaths in the country and the president is making a speech, shouldn't he speak a word of condolence to the families? Is the president that unwise to tell the people who are starving that the country is self-sufficient with turmeric? Who is advising the president? Tell us about the people who go in convoys. He says Maithripala and Ranil did that. Has he not seen how Mahinda Rajapaksa travels? When Namal went to Batticaloa, his motorcade was seen. There was a fire engine there as well. Have they not seen this? The people of this country are dying. The people do not have food to eat. They do not have cement. They do not have medicine. But the president does not speak a word about that. They are acquiring the land in Muthurajavela forcibly. They are trying to sell it through the UDA. When we pressurize the CID, they have informed that they are not arresting Father Cyril Gamini. Who ordered him to be arrested? When they asked Basil what will be provided through the budget, he said they will have to take it from the people. They can now take our undergarments.
Well, these are the problems discussed in the political arena. The proposal to set up an Agrahara insurance scheme with the money deducted from the pensions of pensioners is also under discussion. The National Organization for the Protection of Retirement Rights today submitted a letter to the Ministry of Public Services, provincial councils and local government against this proposal. According to a circular issued by the Secretary to the Ministry of Public Service, Provincial Councils and Local Government on the 29th of October, a sum of 400 rupees per month was to be deducted from a pensioner under the age of 70 for the Agrahara insurance. The monthly charge from retirees over the age of 70 is 600 rupees. The National Organization for the Protection of Retirement Rights met the Secretary to the Ministry today to protest against this and to inquire into certain matters of the said circular. If you cut 400 from one person, 234 million gets collected in a month. That has to be multiplied by 12. This 400 rupees is going to be deducted from these pensioners to cover all the wasteful expenditure of the government and the relief available to cronies. If the government does not take action to end this injustice, we have decided to hold a massive protest march and to bring the Sri Lankan pensioners to Colombo Fort on the 11th of November. State Minister Roshan Ranasinghe revealed that every local government member in the country, irrespective of their party affiliation, will be awarded 4 million rupees for their electorates. As per the instructions of the President and the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister will provide 4 million rupees for each local government member. This is the first time this is happening. When we were elected to Parliament back in 2010, one member only received 5 million rupees. And today, every local government member, irrespective of their parties, be it Sri Lanka Freedom Party or the Janata Vimukti Peramuna, will be awarded an equal amount to serve the public. With that, let's cross over to a quick commercial break. More news on protests happening in Sri Lanka on the other side.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Do your online shopping with Sambole.lk. Home delivery and pickup now available.
Sambole.lk.
Welcome back to the news. The working committee of the Samagi Jana Balavege Youth met under the chairmanship of the leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa. Through the nadir politics carried out in the country for decades, the youth have distanced themselves from politics. The youth expect a journey that does not involve lies and deception, a journey that ensures the betterment of our nation, and a journey that is true and real. We do not create youth movements with the objective of uplifting someone's image. We do not create youth movements to further the political career of so-called political pets. This is a journey that goes forward with the ideologies of the youth. There are queues for passports. Our youth are trying to leave the country. We have not seen something like this in our past. We would like to tell the youth that are leaving, your shattered dreams will soon be made a reality once again. We will take the steps to do it. Several teacher unions are preparing to hold joint protests across the country tomorrow. We clearly state the need to address the issue of salary anomalies of teachers and principals as well as other issues in the country. That is the purpose of our protest. As teachers and principals unions, we have organized massive agitations in front of all zonal offices in Sri Lanka tomorrow. If we do not find a solution tomorrow, we are definitely preparing to go for a massive trade union action on budget day as well. 16 trade unions, including the Government Nurses Association and the Pharmacists Association, are preparing for a 24-hour strike from 7 a.m. tomorrow based on several demands, including promotions and salary anomalies. A token strike will begin on the 9th of November at 7 a.m. We will end this token strike on the 10th of November at 10 a.m. Until now, we did everything we could to solve matters through negotiations. Even on instances where we were on strike, we made sure that enough employees were allocated to make sure the public was not inconvenienced. But none of those attempts brought back positive results for us. That is the reason why we opted to go for a token strike as a measure of last resort. The The students' movement staged a protest in Colombo Fort today, demanding the release of Vasantha Mudalige, the convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, who was arrested under the Public Property Act. The government may implement presidential task forces saying one country, one law. We have one country, but two laws. Back in the day, the Attorney General's office filed cases against Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa. Now that same Attorney General's office is withdrawing those very cases. It is clear to us that these individuals have been imprisoned as a direct result of political interferences. We will take drastic measures if the government does not put an end to this suppression. Drawing your attention to some more local news, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the International Labour Organization Office of Sri Lanka and the Maldives launched a South Asia Leadership in Entrepreneurship program. The event was held in Colombo today.
The event was attended by Manjula De Silva, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Simran Singh, Director of the International Labour Organization Office of Sri Lanka and the Maldives, and Phillips Loosley, the Economy Chief of the US Embassy. This program will aim to boost young people's transition into the entrepreneurial world and create a shift in the entrepreneurial ecosystem through several strategic interventions. The program will introduce entrepreneurship curricula to upper secondary schools, universities, and tertiary academic institutions.
The National Tsunami Awareness Day program, organized by the Disaster Management Center in line with the World Tsunami Awareness Day, was held today. The national event was held under the theme Learn, Share, Actions amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
Tsunamis are among the most devastating natural hazards which impact nations across the world with coastal borders. When the first tsunami hit the country on the 26th of December 2004, Sri Lanka was not prepared. Today's hybrid event was conducted as Sri Lanka is planning to gain recognition as a tsunami-ready country. Delegations representing multiple sectors attended the event today. Resource people from the United Nations, University of Huddersfield in the UK, India and several other foreign nations joined the event virtually.
For the last so many years, we have been studying, analyzing, making preparatory plans, making SOPs and trying to make people aware of if and when it comes, what we will do. The million-dollar question is, how ready are we? It's a hidden enemy, hidden threat will come without an enemy.
A panel discussion under the topic, Are we tsunami ready? Communication from regional, national and to local communities was also held. The discussion was moderated by Dr. Chandana Sirivardhana, Senior Lecturer of the University of Moratuwa.
The Health Circle Foundation donated a highly advanced machine worth 17 million rupees to the bone transplant unit of the Kotalavala Defence University Hospital in Verahara this morning.
The Secretary of Defence, retired General Kamal Gunaratne, presented the machine to Hospital Director J.B. Mendis of the Kotalavala Defence University. The donation worth 17 million rupees to purchase the highly advanced machine was made by Lanka Panwila and Prashanti Panwila. The event of handing over the machine to the bone transplant unit of the Kotalavala Defence University Hospital was held at the Kotalavala Defence University Auditorium.
Maldives President Ibrahim Mohammed Soli arrived in Sri Lanka today to attend the opening ceremony of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa Trophy 2021 or the Four Nations International Tournament. You can log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk for more details of this story. That's all the news we have for you this evening. We urge you to stay tuned to News First and TV1 as Shamir Rasuldeen joins us with Face the Nation shortly. I've been Chaturang Hapwarachi. Take care and good night.